wanted more power. Arcade-like 4-dimensional graphics and 15-channel stereo sound. Neo Geo. There's no stopping us now.
The SNK Neo Geo lingers in history as one of the greats. In its prime, its status was legendary, and its influence on the video game market has not been forgotten to this day. Born from the arcade, the multi-video system, or MVS, was a new business model. Instead of expensive one-time builds and custom hardware, you had standardised hardware spec with a cheap game distribution model, unlike anything that had been used before. This unique and impressive machine, developed by SNK and Alpha Denshi, was made for the arcade. As the MVS became popular in the arcades, interest grew around the games. This made SNK think of a retail AES system, as its initial release was as a rental system due to the high price of the AES. Taking home a Neo Geo, you would be treated to a console that was offering home conversions of arcade games that were the same as the arcade, not inferior conversions, as the home console contained some 99% of the same parts as the arcade boards. With such power, however, comes a price. The Neo Geo AES was an expensive system to own, about $650 at launch. That's about £1,100–1,200 today. Games retailed at over £100, that's about £300 today, which put the system out of many people's reach. At its heart, the Neo Geo and the MVS used a Motorola M68000 as its main CPU, with a Z80 as a sound driver and a Yamaha YM2610 sound chip. The M68000 was a 16-bit CPU and was also found in the Sega Mega Drive, Amiga and Atari ST. It was only overclocked to 12 MHz compared to the Mega Drive 7.67 MHz. Running alongside this, the system had a custom line processor, the LSPCOA, which drives the Neo Geo graphics. The AES and the MVS were released on the 26th of April 1990 and in 1991 for the home release, and its initial main selling point was that arcade operators could add up to 6 carts to a motherboard depending on the setup they wanted, thus saving money on expensive PCBs, so saving the arcade operators huge amounts of money, allowing games to be rotated with little effort or cost compared to standard cabs, so saving floor space. The Advanced Entertainment System, or AES, home console, was a rental system to start with, but due to overwhelming interest, it made it to retail. One unique feature was you could save games at the arcade with a removable save card and return home and continue the game from the saved progress on the card. It was a first for the industry at a time. Better still, the image quality and size of sprites compared to the Mega Drive or PC set the AES apart as a home console giant. So why does the Neo Geo look so different to other systems on the market when it uses the same chips? Well, to explain this, the AES has more RAM and a faster clock processor, but the most major difference was the LSPCOA custom sprite processor, which could draw 380 sprites, about 96 sprites per scan line all day, and with its Yamaha sound chip pumping out tunes and massive sprites, this defined the Neo Geo games and became a true phenomenon in the arcade and the home. One thing which did hurt the system was rotation. Nintendo's SNES used Mode 7, and the Neo Geo simply can't apply this to its sprites, so negating this feature, which at the time was very popular and a system seller. In contrast, one of the most impressive features of the Neo Geo was sprite scaling. This effect was achievable because everything was sprites, so this effect could be used across the whole screen, as seen effectively on Art of the Fighting or Samurai Showdown. This in and out zoom was very popular and a novel effect, and its use quickly set the system apart from others, so defining the system arcade versions with such great effects. Neo Geo games often use speech in games. This was made possible by the inclusion of the YM2610 Yamaha sound chip, as this allowed greater use of voice clips and instrument effects, like used by Sega with games such as Michael Jackson's Moonraker. The system was actually marketed as a 24-bit system, but the CPU actually was 16-bit, but with a 24-bit GPU data bus. The Neo Geo was successful up until it was discontinued in 1997, but still has a cult following and is considered very collectible today. The game carts were huge for the day, and the MVS carts are different from the AES carts. and AES carts have become considerably more expensive than the MVS carts, but adapters are available, such as the Phantom 1, which would allow you to play MVS carts on the AES. The cartridge sizes are up to 330 megabits, and that's why the system displays max 330 mega Pro Gear spec on boot, but later sizes were expanded with bank switching to allow carts to store up to 716 megabits. These were known as Gigapower Pro Gear spec carts. As for the legacy of the Neo Geo, it has been saved by emulation and a few select games used by Nintendo Switch, PlayStation and Xbox on their current platforms. Also, a dedicated community of collectors strive to keep the hardware alive, and new devices from the likes of Terror Onion give the system a much needed injection of youth with the Neo SD Pro. This device allows greater access to games using original hardware by the use of this flash cartridge. But the future still has Neo Geo in it, and to be fair, we all need a little bit of that. So, if you made it this far, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you again in the next video. Bye for now.